Hello everyone, Pinder Productions here, and today I'm back with part number 4 of my F1 2016 Career Mode series, and today we will be going to Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix, so let's get started with practice as always.
Here we are at the fascinating Sochi Autodrome in Russia for what is expected to be a compelling race weekend. Well, it all begins today with practice.
As always, I started with the track acclimatization, which overall I did fairly well and I scored enough to get the green, so I decided to move on after this to the tyre wear test, which really didn't go well on the first few laps. The last couple went okay, but I still didn't score enough, and in the qualifying lap test I got the green again, but only on the second lap, not on my first. I was a bit too slow on the first one. So let's move on now to the resource points I earned, which, I mean, there we go, they're all in the green so far. So yeah, they are all in the green. Hopefully we'll get a new rivalry because I finished my, new rival. Because I finished the one with Sebastian Vettel last episode.
Looks like you've got a bit of rivalry going on out there. This is good. Gets people talking about you. Just make sure you outperform them, okay?
Right, so our new rival is Daniel Ricciardo. I would have thought they'd pick a Mercedes driver for us. Obviously not, but I think he's going to be a bit easy. Now let's listen to this voicemail.
Hi. Just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
So those are our qualifying goals. Let's head into qualifying now.
Welcome F1 fans, where qualifying will be starting in the next few minutes as the teams prepare to get out on track at the Sochi Autodrome here in Russia.
As with previous episodes, I did well in qualifying. The weather had cleared up also, and I was on pole, or bagged pole, for the start of the race in the start of the race. So let's move on to the career score from qualifying and the rivalry update, as well as going to the race.
Who are a Ferrari, Hamilton and Nico Rosberg.
So here are the resource points that we have achieved during qualifying. We have beaten Daniel Ricciardo, so here's the rivalry. So we are getting ticks for everything, as is Daniel Ricciardo. He got the fastest first sector actually, which is a surprise. However, we got the fastest last two sectors, so overall we were the fastest because we got pole. And we have moved up in our driver position, so that is good, and it looks like we have another voicemail.
Hi, Emma here. Just wanted to let you know what the team are hoping for in the race.
So those are our race goals. Let's go on to the race.
Good afternoon from Sochi as we prepare to get underway for the Russian Grand Prix. The championship battle has some time to go yet, but still expect no quarter to be given here on this circuit that made its debut in 2014 and has already seen some classic racing. Built on the shores of the Black Sea, the Sochi Autodrome is a 3.6-mile tour around some of the venues built for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. Close barriers may make overtakes more challenging, but with 56% of the lap taken absolutely flat out, we certainly won't be wanting for pure speed. A fitting arena then to do battle at the pinnacle of motorsport. And alongside me to take you through it all is none other than Anthony Davidson. This was a circuit that I think in its inaugural race got off to a bit of a shaky start, but since then it's really drawn the fans in and become a very popular event. What do you think changed?
But this just goes to show the importance of fixing problems as and when you discover them. As a complete unknown quantity in 2014, the tyre choice was quite conservative, which didn't really allow much in terms of different strategy options. So it was pretty much as you were from lights to flag. But that was a great learning experience, and we came back the next year and had a really exciting Grand Prix, with battles for the podium going on all the way to the final lap. So hopefully we'll be treated to more of the same this year.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Trying to cover the inside line off the start.
So for the race strategy, I was going to go for the more conservative option if we were in the aggressive. But I did decide to go for the conservative option, so without making any stops, and I do hope it's going to get drier partway through the race so we can move on to maybe some super soft tyres or softs depending on how far we get through the race. But now we go to 2, 3 lights, behind us there's Mercedes 4, 5 lights, and away we go for the start of the Russian Grand Prix, the first running I think on the series in the wet as well, and we have been able so far to keep P1. and it doesn't look like the AI are trying to make any moves. So in the previous races, Lewis Hamilton, or someone at least, has tried to make a move on me down into turn 1. However, we have been able to keep P1 so far, running a little bit wide there. However, we aren't going to be able to go flat out through here because the steering really isn't that great. As you can see me going close there, really in a low gear through this corner, to be honest. Warning for running wide, really. So yeah, we are not doing too well in this race. I mean, we're doing well, however, it is going to be a slow race. It's going to be managing the tyres, really. It's not going to be the most interesting race unless it does get dry. However, I just need to keep P1 really for this. Cutting on later in the race, and it looks like Hamilton and we're really sort of pulling away from the rest of the pack. Hamilton is second, as you can see, Rosberg third. I assume my teammates in fourth, but I have no idea. I'm just sort of having a look at tyre wear here, and it looks to be good for the moment. So I think as long as we sort of keep running the race like this, my tyres should last to the end, as long as it doesn't go, the race doesn't get dry, the track doesn't get dry, and we need to move on to dry tyres. So let's keep going like this, I suppose, and we've set another fastest sector there, as you can see, but let's just continue how we're going. And on lap 3 here, I am running wide, and you can see the proximity arrow where Hamilton is just right behind me, almost up my gearbox, right there. 2 proximity arrows, but I hope to keep him off. There won't be DRS, luckily, because it is a wet race. I think the time to go on to the dry weather tyres will be if the DRS is enabled. So then that's sort of when they allow DRS to open, is when it's dry enough. So I think that will be when the best time to make the move on to dry tyres will be. However, for now we are doing well on these intermediates, running wide here and there. However, we are keeping ahead of Lewis Hamilton behind us. Cutting on to partway through lap 5 now, and I sort of just got into a groove where I wasn't setting any fast lap times. They're all in the red. I was sort of conserving my tyres at this point. However, it wasn't long after this, or around this time really, that I sort of saw some blue patches of sky appearing, and the red sector times, I assumed, were for the track sort of drying up, because it was sort of, the grip was getting a little bit higher in terms of not being so slippery. However, the tyres were not at optimum performing levels, it seemed to me, for a few laps really.
Okay, the gap behind is 6.4 seconds.
So as we just heard from the engineer, the gap is fairly big really, so I'm quite happy with that, and the track is already looking drier on lap 8 here, so hopefully within the next few laps they might enable DRS and we'll be able to stop for some dry tyres. Only a lap later, on lap 9, and DRS has been enabled, so that means we are getting towards, well, about this lap really, that we should go on to the, well, softer dry tyres. Not sure what compound to go on.
Stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
Right, I'm going to go on for another lap. I was sort of debating, do I switch, but I'm going to go.
Strategy. Do you want to change or stick to plan A?
Right, so I'm going to take up the engineer's strategy of moving on to the super soft tyres at the end of this lap, and it looks like Hamilton is going into the pits on the mini-map there. So does that mean, oh no, I hope he doesn't make an undercut there as we sort of fishtail a bit. Right, so Rosberg has moved up and Vettel have moved up, so they're saying on the intermediate tyres, what position are we going to come out in? 4th at the moment. So I think that's 4th. The resolution of this window is so low. Anyway, so I'm just going to continue on and pit at the end. I hope the other two, Rosberg and Vettel, will pit as well at the end of this lap, and we'll move on to these super soft tyres. And now we are coming into the pits at the end of lap 10. I've run wide a bit, warning corner cutting, just for running a bit wide in the pits, but now I'm going to speed this part up.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
Helpful tips there from my engineer. And look, Rosberg and Vettel pitted as well as me. However, it looks like Hamilton is closing up the gap. I'm sort of just trying not to run deep through that corner. However, I was really braking a bit too early there. But at Australia, I remember the sort of AI driving of your car coming out the pits. I don't care about Hulkenberg. So yeah, slowing down at the pits, it just torpedoed you into the first corner, so I didn't want to risk that again, and that's why I was braking so early there. However, it was a bit unneeded. Coming on to the start of lap 12, we have extended our gap to Hamilton. We've set the fastest last sector, have the lap overall. Hamilton has set the fastest lap now. This is not good. Luckily, I've put it into Rich on this straight to get ahead of him. However, we did have a slow first sector because of our pit stop there on the previous lap, so that's probably why he got a faster lap than us, even though we are quite far ahead. As you can see, we're already halfway through this turn 3, and he is, well, just entering the corner as we're exiting. So yeah, he's half turn 3 behind us at the moment, which is good to see that we are extending the gap over when we left the pits, and we have pushed for the fastest first sector of the race. So that is again nice to see. Lots of fuel remaining, so I can use the rich mix quite a bit throughout the rest of this race to get to the end of the race and win, hopefully, because we're still in P1 after our one and only pit stop, it seems like. I'm about to enter the final 2 corners of this race and take the checkered flag to win the Russian Grand Prix.
Absolutely awesome, just amazing. Well done.
Great win then for the Maranello team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari.
And there we go, after 3 unlucky and, well, bad driving races, we have finally got a podium and a win. That is such a great sight to see. Finally, after 3 races, like I said, with bad driving in the first race with the sort of big getting started and 2 sort of bad luck with tyres, we've finally got our race win and our podium.
Here's how things look in the drivers' table.
So we are on pole and we've moved up into 4th place in the drivers' championship. So we are meeting our team's expectations of us. So Pascal Wehrlein won Driver of the Day. I'm in 4th place in the drivers' championship, which looks very good to me. And let's take a look at the constructors. So we are 2nd in the constructors. We are quite far ahead of Red Bull and just behind of Mercedes, really. So looking good for us. Just need to come ahead of Mercedes in a few more races with some upgrades, which I do need to make to the car still. In the previous episode I said I wanted to do an upgrade to the engine, which I haven't forgot about. I will be doing this afterwards if we have enough resource points, just that we haven't had any other time. So here's the rivalry update. Let's see, we are still ahead of Ricardo, it looks like, which is good. He got the fastest 3rd sector though, so he's still getting some pretty fast sectors, but hopefully our R&D will keep us ahead of the Red Bulls and move us eventually ahead of the Mercedes. So here's the career score for all of you who want to see the career score. This is it, just plus big numbers usually. I mean, that would be nice to see anyway. Alright, so we've got that. Let's have a look at the laptop to see our research and development. And yes, we can afford our engine upgrade, so let's start that and end off the episode here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a like, comment below, subscribe to the channel if you are new, because I will be doing more F1 2016 career mode gameplays here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.